And yeah, I think we're good. So, my notes are, so Ty, once you get into roll 20, if you don't have any plot points, make sure you take at least one. So you can start with at least one. If you have some from left over from last time, that's fine. You don't have to throw any away. You can keep them, but have at least one. Um, okay, so I don't need to worry about the sounds thing because I fixed that and that. I don't know how many of you caught the conversation, but in reviewing the video for how we did the timed crisis last time, I'm saying this for you all, but I'm also saying it for people who might be watching this on YouTube later on, wondering how we messed it up so badly. We did mess it up badly. I messed it up badly, but I think in the final calculation, we would have ended up at basically the same place because we had 2 failures, which would have cost 4 beats from the clock. And we had some heroic successes, which would have cost no beats from the clock. And we had a total of 5, and we ended on the last one with 1 thing left on the crisis pool. So I think, I mean, who knows? Always, could be whatever, but it feels like we actually, classic BW stumbling his way through the rules to a thing that already has rules. But I think we ended up in the same spot, basically. And I don't think I have anything else. Make sure you've got safety cards, but you probably have them left over from last time. I'm getting beeps. Oh, from the game calendar. Okay, all right. Could one of you say something in the BWS weekly game channel to make sure I don't get a beep from that? Or all of you can say something over there. Ah, daggone it. All right, I'm going to disable my noises. All right, so if you message me on Discord, I'm not going to get a beep. I don't have that screen open. So if you have to say something urgent or whatever, whisper it in Roll20, and I'll figure out how to cover it up in the video. Okay, so we left off last time with you all being introduced to the Time Broker and sharing your story and traveling to this timeline, this dimension where mutants and effectively superheroes are outlawed, essentially. And you fought a sentinel and impaled it on a lamppost and then convinced some curious onlookers, hopefully to not alert the authorities. It probably happened anyways, but just not as bad as it could have gone. And then found your way. Kurt led you down through some tunnels to the alley, which is the Morlock home base in Earth 616 canon. And so we're going to go there right now on Roll20. And we all talked about how amazing my Talus drawing was. So we are actually going to do, I had said last time that we'd try to do the growth pools at the beginning. I'm nixing that. We'll do the growth pools at the end. Right now, we're going to open in a transition scene, or a bridge scene, I think is what it's called in Cortex Prime. So this is the time, you don't have any stress, you don't have any complications. This would be the time to heal up in that regard. But this is a time for some role play. This is a time for establishing assets. If you want to do tests against the Doom Pool to make assets, it's a 5d10 in the Doom Pool. Or you can just spend plot points to make a d6 asset. But you were just walking through the door, so let's set the scene here. You are led into this large chamber. Several other sewer tunnels kind of connect at different ends. And the picture that you see on your screen right now is one corner of it. It's a much bigger chamber than that image itself suggests. And in it, there are all kinds of other outcasts, outlaws, refugees, folks in tattered robes and clothes. And you remember Nightcrawler grabbing that comforter in the alley. And this is kind of like everything here looks like that comforter. It's just kind of old, ratty, dirty. This is a place where, at least it seems for the moment, folks are able to hide from sentinel patrols and from authorities. So there's like some bonfires going. There are what's the word? Like little, well, there's rooms off the side. Conclave? No. I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of, but like carvings out of the wall.
Coves.
Cubbies? What'd you say?
Alcoves.
Alcoves. Yeah. Alcoves. That's the word. Yes, thank you. There's like alcoves along the wall, and then there are some tunnels that lead to bigger chambers and stuff. But this is kind of like, or not bigger chambers, but other chambers. This is the main chamber, the bigger chamber. And so yeah, everyone turns to look at you as you come through the door. Certainly you're newcomers, and news probably hasn't made it down here yet of what you just did, because even though it was an entire session, time-wise, you've probably been here for, you know, maybe, what, 20 minutes? However long it took you to beat the Sentinel and then have that quick time test. So I will hand it off to you to do some role-playing or, yeah, like I said, and or establishing assets, and the scene lasts as long as you need it to, and when everyone feels like we're ready to move on, we will move on.
I'll look over at Cart and I will roll my eyes and saying, "You've led us right into the belly of the beast."
Hey, it ain't home, but it's gonna allow us to be safe for the moment.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'd want to remember, or I want to remind you that you had also seen the poster, right, with Aurora on it, and Tyr, you had shared that the Talus had given you a message, and yeah. So in case, hopefully you all remembered, it was a pretty big thing, but that has also just happened, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna fade behind them and just let them walk forward and do all the social interaction. And I had planned on doing this already. I'm going to try to create an asset where I can have a beat on her location where I can find her easier. Basically, try to reach out with my telepathy and locate her.
Locate Aurora?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, that sounds rad. So you want to make it as like a test created asset?
Yes.
Okay, let me roll the doom roll.
So you get your doom roll.
Yeah, 5d10. Maybe. It just says rolling the dice. Oh, there we go. Ooh, wow. I don't know.
Is it bad?
19.
Goodness. I knew it was going to be that too. I knew it was going to be ridiculous.
So here's the thing, and I didn't look at your sheets specifically with them in mind, but I will remind you that you also have anchors, which are like resource dice. So if you have an anchor that somehow helps you in any of these circumstances that you're doing, you are welcome to, so a resource dice, you say, I'm going to add in an anchor, but you do your normal roll, and then you roll the anchor dice, and you pick the highest one of all the anchor dice that you rolled, however many you chose to roll, and that gets added into your total. So that may help get a higher total.
Okay.
The total of 19 is pretty high.
It is kind of high, yeah. I'm going to do multi-power on my Omega class telepath, so I'm going to add in telepathy and probably mind control at both D8, if you think that narratively makes sense.
Sure. And are you using a value in there? Or I should say, what value are you using?
I haven't got that part, but
Okay,
yes,
okay.
I will be.
So, like, I'm not gonna, push you into anything, but this could be an opportunity if you wanted to use an X-Men anchor.
I was just going to ask you if I could use that because technically, it's a Nightcrawler X-Men, and maybe there's some here among the people.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're trying to find Aurora, who is a member of the X-Men, right? So, like, the idea that you're more familiar with her than others, that would definitely help you sort of tune into her.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So you don't have to say how many you're going to roll right now, or maybe in the rules you're supposed to, but I'm not going to make you commit to one or two of the d6s. But I'm going to do that.
I'm going to roll 2d6 because I need them.
Okay, but you do it after the after your regular roll, because they're going to get that is going to get added to your total. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. I mean, yes, but hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's a lot of talking. Do your
No,
regular
it's
roll, but don't roll the
and
2d6s. And
the
then
1d6 I'm rolling right now. I'm adding right now. That's from I believe it's I just lost. It's one of my values. 1d6 freedom. Yeah,
okay,
freedom.
okay,
And would psych expert help? Do
sure,
you think?
sure.
Okay. Okay, let me see. I have to beat a 19, right?
Yeah, yeah. You might be able to do it.
So let's see, 7. All right, so what I'll do is I'm going to spend my last plot point and I'm going to add in that 6 to my 2 sevens here. I mean, wait a minute. Yeah, that makes sense? It doesn't matter. But I'll add in the 6 to the 7 and the 8
Yep.
to beat the 19. That's going to be what? 8, 9, 10, 12,
21.
21. 21 with a D8 effect die.
Okay. Are you gonna roll your anchor dice then? One or two of
I
them?
don't. Nope, not this time. I don't think I need them.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I honestly didn't think you'd make it. But all right.
Yeah.
So then, in your little area down there, go ahead and jot down that you have a D8. Actually, if I jot it down, I think you guys can still manipulate it.
Do you want me to do it, or are you going to do it?
There we go. Can you move that around?
Let me try. I cannot. No.
No. Okay. All right. Not a big deal. So you got a D8 asset called Aurora's Location. So you reach out, and you are able to kind of locate her, and not surprisingly, right? Remember the detention center. Not surprisingly, it's coming from that direction, but it's fuzzy and distorted, coming from sort of the heart of the facility. Some of the feedback that you're experiencing actually is very similar to how you felt when you were wearing your collar. Same kind of staticky vibe.
Interesting. So I'm not to be a me monster here, but I'm just going to say I think I have her general location as I'm like doing the thing where I'm touching the side of my head. You know, be quiet though.
So when we're saying it's been about 20 minutes, then it's probably been about 30 minutes since we met the time broker, right? Like 45. We're not pushing an hour into this entire multiversal ordeal, are we?
I would tend to say no. Why? What you thinking?
Oh no, just thinking that yeah, we are kind of slam bang right here. Tyr uh still doesn't know who Aurora is. Who is this friend of yours, this storm that we must save? A hero born, destined for Valhalla. To Kurt.
All that and more. She is one of the leaders of the group known as the X-Men, one of the greatest hero groups ever formed.
Ah, I know of the X-Men. Many times have we fought together in battle, but I only know of 5, and none of them are named Storm. However, if in your world she is one of them, we will save her.
I do believe that is what we're tasked to do by the little gem on your arm, if I'm not mistaken.
So tell me, my muscular friend here. Tell me of your story. I have not heard it before.
I am Tyr, the Odin's son. Do you not know of Tyr?
I do not. Why do I ask? If I already knew.
I am the Asgardian god of battle, firstborn son of Odin.
Odin was a busy man with all these sun gods.
I am the only son of Odin.
And what about Thor?
Who?
We knew of another that was not you. That was the son of Odin.
Do you mean me? You turn and Slaphappy is turned into Thor.
Perfect. Love it.
It looks
This
like that
is my brother, Tyr.
Ah, so Thor is my. What? Am I still
Brother
the
from
firstborn?
another mother?
Am I still the
Brother from the
firstborn?
same mother? Wait. I'm firstborn. Does that make us twins?
Friend Slaphappy. You're a strange one,
Where?
but I
Who?
enjoy your humor. If you say this Thor is son of Odin, then he must be a strong and true hero. I wonder, though, why you've never heard of Tyr of Battles, except for... And then he points with the with his hand, his actual hand, at Slaphappy. I'm going to have to find out what that's called. I feel actually I'm trying to avoid referring directly to it.
Your stump?
Yes.
Yeah, I called it that last time too. Probably not super sensitive to do that though.
Probably. But Kurt's not a super sensitive person, so, he's kind of blunt character, so I didn't do it as if I am him. And you'll have to take it as such, I hope.
Well then, Tyr pulls out Tyrfing and he says, "Then let us begin for the battle." And I'm going to begin sharpening my blade. Just like got it pressed and I'm sharpening the blade. And so I am going to attempt a test created asset.
All right.
So let's see here. This is definitely Warrior Born. And
That's a 19 for you too. I guess we're getting my good rolls out of the way early.
I'm going to say this is duty. My strength obliges me to aid the weak, and the captured are the temporarily weak.
So as you are all discussing, having this conversation, and obviously as you pull out your sword, the others are not really approaching you. Like the other folks that are there, there's that sense of tension, and they just don't want trouble. Like they didn't make it this long by getting involved in, problems. At least not yet. Nobody has like approached you or anything like that. You've kind of kept to yourself. They've kept to themselves. Ooh.
Has there been anybody that looks like everybody's looking towards or to make the move?
Well, you led the way through the door, but now that we've got Tyr sharpening his sword, most eyes are going to that. Yeah.
So Tyr's used to being an Avenger, though, so he thinks nothing of like being out in public. So let's talk about this roll, BW.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Oh, it's not that's all.
Well, let's not even pretend plot points can help that one. So,
Right. Well, did you have an anchor? I
total-
wasn't looking at your anchors. Was there an anchor that you could use?
not really.
No,
Not for this. But let's see. That's a total 13. So that's a heroic success for the Doom Pull.
So I think what I'm gonna do is if I buy that and put a complication on you, it starts at a D6. Do I step it up because of the heroic difference? Or do I think I only step it up if there's other hitches. I don't think the fact that I have a 19 steps up the
Yeah.
hitch. I don't think that's how it works. Is that correct?
I think you just add I think you just step it up if there's another hitch
If there's another hitch.
that
Okay.
narratively could add to it, you know.
Right. So I'm going to put a complication on Tyr, a D6 complication. So give yourself a plot point. And this complication is going to be called... a brother. So this new information to you that you've just had, and with Slaphappy showing you what Thor looks like and everything, there's just kind of this voice in the back of your head. Well, maybe I shouldn't say it that way, because it's not even that. It's just kind of like something to think on that's a little bit distracting to you in that sense, if that makes sense.
No, I dig it. I dig it. Yeah, I'm just in the back of my head. Another Odin's son, Trueborn. What about me stopped that from happening? Yeah, I can totally roll with that.
This is not necessarily action order either, folks. Don't feel like you can't do more than the one thing. But if and when we're done, we'll move on.
I'll step in front of the group and look at the people, I guess the refugees all around. What are they doing?
Largely minding their business, kind of paying attention, but you've got some who are sleeping, just kind of resting. You've got some who are busy over the fires, cooking food or doing something to that effect. Some are just sitting around, standing around. There's no concerted effort for anything in particular, but they are almost all of them watching the group of you, mostly paying attention at this point to Tyr, because he's got a weapon drawn.
I'm going to look at somebody near me. Somebody that's looks like they maybe have been around for a while, maybe looks experienced in some way, and I'm going to read their mind and try to find out where we are and any information relevant to this place.
Okay. That's not even necessarily going to be a roll. I can share that with you.
Perfect.
So it's busy at first. There's a lot of mines here, and some of them are mutant mines, and some of them maybe even have telepathic abilities, at least on a lower level, certainly not on an Omega level. And so it takes a moment to kind of discern through it all. But you get this, it's just the sense of oppression, suffering, running from the law, like a life lived on where survival is everything and constantly on the run. And that's actually from the specific mind that you reach out and touch and are reading, but also that background static is also very much that mood atmosphere. And this one individual whose mind you are reading is an older visually looking like she's in her 80s or even 90s, like frail, tattered rags, but that's basically what most folks are wearing anyway. And she's lived a long time. Like, she's seen a lot of this situation that has played out, and you kind of get this glory days impression. So it's first that survival, it's first that idea of like constantly being having to hide and run and scrap and scavenge and stuff. But before that, the more you kind of search and try to get a bearing on what's going on here and what this place is about, you see like better days when things weren't as dirty, and the Morlocks, this person is a Morlock, and so specifically knows the whole tunnel layouts and has been here for a long time and seen a lot of heroes in her time, but none recently. But it's kind of like the alley is like the heartbeat, and you have all of these arteries of tunnels that go off in all directions throughout the city, and she's been there for a long time. Is that...
I just want to kneel down next to her and just take her hand and say, how did this all start? I'm not from here, and where I come from, the city doesn't look like this. How did this all come to be?
Sure. So she sees, like, she locks eyes with you, and she actually like holds out her palm, and images start to display across her palm, not like a TV screen, but more like a suspended hologram kind of. But she's not a cyborg or anything like that, at least that you can tell. This is probably her mutant power, that she can make images kind of appear out of her palms, like a projector kind of. And she starts to show events from decades ago, and of course with her limited view, it's from her perspective, so a lot of it is not like from topside, so to speak. But you get this impression that there was some event that was really bad. Somebody died, somebody was killed, and as a result of that, everything got tense all around the world. There was just the tension against mutants that was kind of always there in the background got ratcheted up, and the Sentinels made their debut pretty soon. Well, not their debut, they'd been known, but I mean, like, they came in full force pretty soon thereafter, and that's where a lot of the hiding started. It used to be that if you were a Morlock, you were an outcast, and you were almost choosing to live apart from society. This event, this assassination, this murder, and then the subsequent Sentinel uprising or takeover is really where it became about hiding. This was a place to hide from them, and then it's sort of a montage of battles and with different heroes, and there's visions of heroes falling in battle, and there's global events and all kinds of battle. Some of the scenes you recognize as buildings that are ruined. Like you were up there fighting the Sentinel and everything. Some of those buildings that were ruined, like you're seeing when they weren't ruined, and you're seeing them get ruined, topple over. Sentinels arresting people and using like gas or robotic tentacles to capture mutants and bring them to that detention center. There's definitely a sense that that this mutant's life, her life, is defined by just what has been done, the Sentinel overlords, and just staying out of their reach. But she doesn't say any of this to you. She doesn't speak. It's all just shown with these images.
I'm just put a comforting hand on her shoulder and stand up, and then walk back to the others.
Kurt's gonna sneak off, and he is actually going to scout the area, and the whole thing that he's actually trying to do is look for a familiar face, even though he knows that they will not be familiar to each other, but something that he can connect with to say, okay, that's a person I helped in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I know that name, and I'll try to drag out what that person's name is in my memory and see if I can create a connection with that person.
Okay.
And
Do you want this to be represented as an asset or anything like that, or do you just want to?
yeah, as an asset, because the whole idea is, well, the end goal is that I want to see if I can get a layout plan of the Murloc tunnels from here to the detention center that is underground, or what they think is a safe path from here to there that will allow us to get there undetected as best as possible.
Sure. All right, let me roll my my pool. Okay, so we're looking at a 12, and I did roll a hitch. If anybody wants to take advantage of that.
I'll take that. And the best I can do is a 11. But I do have an anchor of, well, either mutants, because I would have a general affinity for protecting mutants.
Yeah. Yeah, that feels like that's the one that fits the most, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll a d6, and we'll add it to your total of... Would you say your total was 11?
11 so far.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. So that makes it to 20.
Well, you don't add them both. You just pick one of them. You pick the highest one, so you add the 6 in.
6. Okay.
Yep. So then, so that's a resource, right? So when you use resources up, they're done until they can get replenished again. But
Okay.
that does go ahead and jot your total down, and then we'll make the asset. Which is actually going to be a heroic success on your part. So if you chose one of those D8s, it becomes a D10.
Oh, I forgot. I took your hitch.
Oh, yeah.
So how do I remove?
I don't know that there's anything you can do with my hitch, though. You can use it to remove stuff on you.
Yeah.
You could probably pass it to Tyr so he can find out his complication.
Yeah, does Tyr have... Yeah, you have plot points, Bryan. So if you're cool with that, Ty, if you pass it over...
Yeah.
But that it's not... You don't have to do that if you don't want to, Bryan. But you can definitely do that. Buy the hitch and then step your D6 down to a D4.
Oh no, I'm good.
Okay.
Well, I could give it to
I like
Winter
that complication.
for how do I remove the plot point?
So if you click it above your name, and then you click and drag it out onto the tabletop.
It's not allowing me to click or drag it. I was able to add one by clicking onto the stack that's over onto the right.
Right.
And it says something about removed, but it does not show how I can remove. Well, we know that it's now down to 2.
Yeah, I think I can take it from you.
There we go. Let it go. There we go. Cool.
Okay, so you've got this D10 asset, this familiar face. Do you want to name who that is, who you see, that is able to help you out in this way? I can roleplay them if you want, but I mean, do you have someone specific that you might be interested in looking for or finding?
what was his name? I gotta look up the Murloc history that
Doesn't have to just be a Morlock though. I mean, it could be another X-Men. It could be somebody. It could be Captain America. Like it could be anybody.
Let's make it Jubilee.
Ah, dude, reading my mind. Yes, that's who I was gonna have it be. So absolutely, Jubilee. So you're looking through these tunnels, and finally she spots you, and you have this moment of like recognition because neither of you looks like your own versions of that other person, but she comes up and says, "Kurt, is it really you?"
Staff Fräulein. It is I. But not from here, from somewhere else. But I am still your beloved fuzzy elf.
What are you doing here?
What do X-Men always do? Save the world.
I thought you were dead.
That's a relative term I'm learning. But we're here to save Aurora.
Oh. And she kind of looks away and is sort of downcast.
Berline, it's not your problem. It's ours. And it's not your fault. It's our responsibility just to save her. It does not matter how she got to where she's at. So don't take it on yourself. We are here to save her. And if you have any information that can help us, we would be so grateful to help us in any way you can.
So she beckons you to follow, and she leads you down a side tunnel and shows you a tunnel that's sort of disguised on the outside. Like the doorway is just kind of covered up in loose bricks and a pallet and things like that. And she points at it and she says, "Aurora's been gone for 2 weeks. When that happens, we know what it means. Nobody ever comes back from the detention center. But this tunnel will bring you up past the fences. If you really think that you have a chance."
And I put my hand on her shoulder and said, Fräulein, there's always hope. The slimmest, the slightest spark in the dark. And I know the dark well. And I go back and I thank her and give her a quick hug. And then I go down to the rest of the group to tell them the news and to let them know that we now have a way to get to Aurora.
Excellent. Tyr stands up and sheathes his sword. Then, friends, shall we away?
Good job. Good job, but I've already figured out the way myself, and I start walking the direction.
What about Slaphappy? What was Slaphappy up to? I don't want to move on too fast without giving you a spotlight here, Jumbo. If you're cool with that,
Sure,
we can do that. But
Well, so Slaphappy has been like kind of taking in everything from the moment that they arrived, and how bleak everything really is, and it's really starting to shake her a bit, and so I'm triggering the limit that I have on Sunshine and Rainbows to take on some emotional stress because of this. Because it's seeing what's happening is, completely counter to the way that she lives, because it's all like kind of limitless in what she tries to accomplish, and seeing so much suffering that people have basically given up hope, it kind of makes her give up a little bit of hope as well. and so she's kind of down a little bit, and then sees all of the team, doing things to better our position and hopefully end up helping the people here, and starts kind of thinking a little bit and realizes that maybe, just maybe, in the pocket dimension, there's a like a sentinel detector that she could end up having to help either help these people avoid the sentinels or help us avoid the sentinels. Probably help us avoid the sentinels for the time being, but maybe end up giving it to them if it survives, whatever it may be.
That's
So,
awesome.
Thinking about creating a Dimension X asset.
Sure. So I could do a 16, but I don't want to use the 10 because I really love your idea and I want you to maybe have a better chance at succeeding. So I'm going to go with the 11.
Okay.
It's not just for you; it's for them too. You've hit me. You've cut me to the quick.
All right. So I do. Living cartoon.
Oh, but you know what? If you're doing that, that's going to give you D8 stress, right? Step up emotional or mental stress that highlights the mundane. So are you taking a D6 stress and stepping it up?
Is that what would happen?
Yeah, I mean, if you're choosing to activate it, the idea would be you would be doing it on something that's inflicting it on you, but if you want to take it on yourself, that's fine too. For the purposes of what you're doing, I think it's perfect.
Okay.
But
Cool.
let me roll that then too. Oof. So I'll do the two highest. We'll make it a total of 14 then. I'll do the 8 and the 6. And I'll jot your stress down too.
Oh, and a hitch.
Are we going emotional stress or was it mental stress? What was it?
I was emotional.
Emotional. Okay, you got a hitch. Well, I will buy that hitch from you, and I'm gonna put. I don't want to put it in the doom pool because I like the 5d10, but I think that has to be what I do. So I'm gonna now have 4d10 and a d12.
All right, so I'm going to spend 2 plot points to make it a 15.
Sure. So if you do that, then you have a d8 effect, right? 8 and 3
yes.
and 2, so 8 and 5.
Oh, wait.
No, that math's not right. 8 and 2 is 10 plus 3 is 13. Yeah, if you do 2 plot points, yeah, it's a 15. It'd just be a d4 effect, though.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
It just won't be as effective.
Sure.
So she reaches into the dimensional pocket, rummages around a little bit, and pulls out a kind of like a Muppet-like creature with a green fuzzy like fur. It's got 6 legs, and and you can't really tell if it has eyes, but it definitely has like kind of like stalks, and it just kind of starts yapping immediately to have come into this environment.
Awesome.
And then she sets it down and it runs around a little bit and runs up to Tyr and starts like pawing at his leg, at his sword.
Friend Slaphappy, what is this thing?
Oh, that's a sentinel detector. Maybe.
Doesn't look like a sentinel detector. It looks like,
Does it detect sentinels on me?
I don't even know what it looks like.
I don't know. Come here, little thing. So she kind of pulls it over and has a little talk to it. What are you doing? And that's all
fantastic.
Slaphappy has.
That's awesome. Definitely, I would say that so I called it a sentinel detector, but that's amazing. I need a moment because I just broke my chair. So if I could have just a couple minutes, I will be right back. I have to clean up like the grease, I guess. Yeah. Gross. All right, yeah, I'll be right back.
So at this point, Jumbo, Tyr is definitely now reaching over to pet the sentinel detector.
All right, I am back. I'm sorry about that. I pushed on the armrest and the whole thing just broke off. Like I have pieces of my chair now all over. I just have to be careful there's nothing sharp. Okay, if I scream, I've been stabbed by my own chair. All right, apologies. Okay, so you've got a sentinel detector. Rad. Are we good to go?
I think so.
Yes, I'm good to go. Sorry, I was muted.
So you said Emma started kind of walking off.
Yeah,
Is
she just, like, Kurt had come back with this celebratory, like, I know I'm fine. I'm like, I already knew this.
Okay.
I found it out myself, and then just start walking that direction.
Okay, cool. As you travel through these tunnels, they are cramped. It is dirty, just like the rest of them. Smelly, just like the rest of them. There's a lot of dust. This is not a passage that gets used very often. It's probably been a while. But you travel for some time. It's pretty dark, but I think I think you can manage by way of I don't know. How would you? Nightcrawler obviously wouldn't have an issue. I guess maybe you all follow Nightcrawler, maybe? Or does Slaphappy have a flashlight or something? Does sentinel detector glow in the dark?
Now that you mention it, yes.
Makes sense to me. So you travel through these tunnels, you reach the end, there's a ladder. As you are able to peek out and see that you are inside the lines of this detention center or like within the fence, within the boundary, within the perimeter. And there are some soldiers walking around armed. There's guard towers. There are sentinels, not like the one that you fought. These are cheaper, smaller, whereas the other one was about 3 stories tall. These are about 2 stories tall, and they do look like they're cheap. They're more like mass-produced models, more about the numbers than, being anything that's super efficient. If there's something that's requires immediate attention, they can handle it, but they're more of like to be working with the humans and stuff, the guards and such. They aren't the big giant ones with all kinds of offensive capabilities. So there's a few of them stationed about. It's a brick building. There's barbed wire on the fences that you are within. It's a brick building. In the center of the brick building, or I shouldn't say brick building plural. I should say it's brick building plural. It's like a facility. There's a couple different wings, but in the center is a big silo, big metal silo, and this would be the area that Emma was sort of had the impression, like at the heart of the facility where Aurora was. That would be kind of like ringing that bell in her mind. Let me move us on roll 20 here.